We just need to understand the data, see the proof, know what works. Call that being particular? We call it being precise. We don't want head-scratching gaps, guesses, assumptions, or opinions. We crave insights and answers, born from data. We're engineers who love how having all of our telemetry, metrics, events, logs, and traces cuts through the crosstalk, separates signal from noise, fact from opinion. It's not data for show, it's data that shows, because it saves us time, settles debate, cancels meetings before they even start, and says, hey, look over here. This is the problem. When dev, ops, security, and business teams come together around data, it washes away the doubt. It reveals the connections we all know are there, the threads that point to the path forward, and what will really work. This is Data for Engineers.
Please welcome Chief Executive Officer, Bill Staples.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to FutureStack 2022. It's so great to be with you here in this beautiful room, as well as say hello to the tens of thousands that are watching online. Isn't it awesome to be together in person after 2 years of Zoom purgatory? Woo! We're here with our most strategic, our best customers, and I just want to extend a thank you for supporting us through those incredible, transformative few years. Remember the good old days when the pandemic first started and we were in lockdown? It was like, oh, I can wear my pajamas to work. Camera off. And now you're like, honey, pack the bags. Let's go to Vegas for FutureStack. And your SO's like, New Relic? Of course, New Relic. We're so glad you're here to be with us in person as our transformation continues. It's been a few years since we were able to be together. And when the pandemic began, you knew us as an APM company. We love APM, and we love data nerds. There's never been anything more important to us than delivering fantastic developer experiences. But at New Relic, we have been doing that for 14 years, and we saw an opportunity to serve you better. And so for the last 2 years, we've been transforming in some incredible ways. New Relic today is an observability platform. To put it simply, we provide data for engineers. The kind of data that we specialize in is telemetry data, and we think it's kind of magical. Think about your engineering teams for just a second. They spend countless hours planning, prioritizing, architecting, designing, coding, reviewing, and integrating that code and their systems. And only then, once it hits production, do you know if it's working like you expected. Only then can you measure and decide, what do I need to do next? Now, there's tons of sources of input for engineers, right? We know them all. There's bugs and feature requests and support tickets and test pass rates and code scanning tools that tell you all the things that maybe you should do. The list goes on, but there's a problem with those tools. They're all based on opinion. They're based on someone or something's idea about what's wrong with the system. Think about even a simple case like a unit test, which maybe you even coded when you wrote the code to validate a particular method or function. It fails. Does that mean that it's the most important thing for you to fix? Of course, unit tests always have to pass, right? But what if that method's actually no longer used in production? Doesn't impact customers. Maybe the right thing to do is to actually remove the unit test instead of fix it. Production data cuts through the opinions with facts. It measures exactly how our code is performing for the business and for customers in real time, at scale, and with all of the customers. It helps you focus on what really matters, and it reveals hidden gems and opportunities to make the customer experience even better. But I don't have to tell you that. You're in this room because you know the magic of telemetry already. How do I know that? Well, let me share a little data about your data. When we launched New Relic and started scaling up to the IPO, we saw incredible data growth. But what's astounding to see is that since the IPO, that data ingest has actually scaled exponentially. And, you can believe it, that exponential scale just continues to pick up pace. We anticipate in the coming years that trend to continue. The amount of telemetry being gathered will only increase. Guess how much of your telemetry data we capture today? 2 quintillion bytes. That's 2 billion gigabytes run rate annually. Lots of copies of Fortnite can be stored in that space. But what's even more incredible is what you're doing with that data. I wanted to see, anyone here heard of Banco Inter? Let's raise the lights here. Banco Inter team's actually here. I can tell from Brazil. If you don't know Banco Inter, it's an incredible online digital bank serving 18 million customers in Brazil. They've been a customer of New Relic for nearly a decade, and they've undergone extensive digital transformation using New Relic to quickly identify issues, find root causes, and provide full stack observability for their business. They go way beyond instrumenting their apps, though. They also track their API gateways, their authentication processes, and account for every touch point of their environment. And they even use New Relic to track their business, corporate APIs. That's what full observability is at its best. Another company, great company. What's in your pocket? What's in your wallet? Anyone here recognize Capital One? Capital One in the room? All right. Yes, Capital One creates some of the best financial service experiences. They create an online platform for dealer partners where their customer dealers can access and manage loan applications. And like many of your systems, when they originally built this, it was a traditional monolithic web app. But over time, they've been re-architecting it to modern microservices. And they're using observability to ensure that the continuity of that customer experience while they're re-architecting under the hood. Capital One uses the breadth of New Relic, not just APM, but browser, infrastructure, and synthetics. Another great example, the Golden Arches. Probably needs no introduction. So rather than me talk about it, why don't I invite someone from McDonald's to come on stage and tell us their story. Chris, welcome to Hey, thank you for being here, Chris.
Thank you.
So the hard question to begin with, Egg McMuffin or sausage egg McMuffin?
I would go with the sausage egg McMuffin personally.
Good man. Yep. So at McDonald's, you've been consolidating tools from multiple sources. Can you share a little bit about your experience?
Yeah, so that's a great question. And to be honest, I'm really glad you asked that because I actually have some statements that I had to pre-plan and get approved internally to be able to say in front of you. So, so here they are.
Checking all the facts for you, huh?
So to first put that into context a little bit, I wanted to describe how our new Relic implementation has grown. 3 years ago, when I took responsibility for our New Relic contract, we had about 5 sub-accounts. And today we have 170. So when we talk about data consolidation, it's really bringing in monitoring data from more applications within McDonald's and also growing the use cases that we already had. So we were already doing the traditional New Relic use cases with things like APM, infrastructure, synthetics, mobile, and then we've added in a couple of new use cases that are bringing in more data, those being New Relic logs, and most recently we are using the Cloud Optimize app to monitor our cloud run cost in New Relic.
Wow, so not only monitoring your environment, using APM infra logs, but also managing your costs with New Relic.
Yep. So
That's amazing. What are the benefits you've seen from all that work?
yeah, so I think it comes down to a couple of things. Number one, we've been able to improve our incident resolution times and improve or speed up the amount of time it takes to produce a root cause. And on top of that, we've been able to shift our tech run cost measurement left in the dev cycle, which has been a big win for us.
Super cool. And what's the functionality within New Relic that's helped you with that root cause analysis and troubleshooting systems easier?
Yeah, so it's a combination of things, and I'm actually excited. My friend Scott Farnham and I today are going to be getting deeper into some of those things at our breakout session at 2:30. So we're going to be talking specifically about how we're using New Relic to measure run cost, and cost measurement has been a challenge for us, and it's helping us get to root cause on cost problems. And Scott's going to be talking about a really unique use case he has uncovered for using our mobile end user telemetry data for monitoring and replaying our mobile app customer sessions.
That sounds fantastic. Hey, hope everybody joins your breakout session. Thank you so much for coming by.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Isn't that amazing? It truly humbles me and amazes me whenever I think about all these amazing companies. Banco Inter, Capital One, McDonald's, just to name a few, using telemetry data to power their business. The creativity that you all have is amazing. When I think about observability, it sounds like such a passive word. Observability. But when I think about it, I actually think about it as putting data to work, actioning that data. We often talk about it here at New Relic as data-driven engineering. Why aren't we all able to harness the data and take advantage of it to a greater degree, like those amazing companies we just talked about? I've been reflecting on the journey of observability, how this category was created. And I wanted to share a few thoughts on that. Because for the past decade, New Relic and other vendors created purpose-built tools for specialty engineering teams to monitor their parts of the stack. You know many of these companies. You probably have many of these tools within your enterprise. We created, of course, APM. We're so proud of that. Continue to lead on that front. Others chose other parts of the stack and other engineering teams. But the dirty little secret about observability is that creates a lot of complexity. Each of these tools has a disparate experience and a separate data store. So acquiring and building all of those tools for your systems not only helps solve problems for the individual teams, but creates problems as engineering teams have to rally around the customer and the business to solve a problem. To achieve the full power of observability, we need to tackle these silos, the data silos, the tool silos, and the inherent team silos that are created because of them. That, in effect, is what New Relic platform has done. We've separated the data from the tool. We have a massive hyperscale telemetry data platform, one of a kind, that ingests all data sources and all data types. And because we run and operate this thing at tremendous scale, we pass along the economic benefits to you. We've also unified our tool set to bring together all of the capabilities that you just heard Capital One, McDonald's, Banco Inter using, APM, infra, logs, browser, mobile, the list goes on, all in one place, so your engineering teams can truly see their project and all the dependencies in engineering and the telemetry associated with those systems too. This is New Relic today, a fully modern observability platform capable of serving your entire engineering organization. Essentially, the promise of New Relic going forward is all of your teams, all of your tools, all of your data in one platform and for one price. You're probably familiar with the Devops software lifecycle, this infinite loop of iteration that your teams go through as they build software, as they plan and build software, deploy and operate it. This is another hallmark for New Relic. all of our competitors are still focused on the operate phase of this software lifecycle, where we all began with monitoring. And certainly there are very many powerful use cases that we continue to unlock and support you in that troubleshooting phase of the software lifecycle. But we believe that that telemetry data and its measurement of the effectiveness of your planning, your architecting, your coding of the software, testing, validating, deploying, is valuable across the software lifecycle, enabling you to make data-driven decisions at every phase. So we're going to talk through how we can unlock that value for you throughout the rest of the presentation. We want to start with developers, where it all begins. I'd love to share some demos of recent innovation and groundbreaking new innovation that we're announcing today for each one of these phases. I want to start with logs, because logs has seen incredible adoption since we first launched it just 2 years ago. It's perhaps the first telemetry source ever invented, right? Logs are super simple, easy, capture what you want in a standard text file. It's long been a source of valuable information. Many developers use logs as a way of logging debug or error information, and some frameworks, app frameworks, even emit logs at the runtime level to assist engineers with their debugging. Since the beginning of APM, we've been, like every other vendor, capturing metrics and events associated with your applications. Those are powerful data types too. But observing an application with only those 2 data types is like Zoom. It's like looking at a 3D object in a 2D world. So let me introduce Julian onto the stage to talk about how we're bringing APM and logs together. Julian.
Thank you very much, Bill. Just wow, look at this. This is, wow, I'm so excited to be here. Folks, my name is Julian Zucker. I'm the Senior Director of Product at New Relic. I'm the product leader for New Relic Logs and NRDB. Now, it was a little over 2 years ago when we were up on stage at FutureStack and we announced the logging product. And it's been an incredible journey since then, as Bill showed that adoption curve. When we launched the logging product, we had a singular focus in mind. We wanted to end data silos. And in the case of logging, that meant you see an error in New Relic, you copy the error, you go to a different tool, you start a search, it's taking too long, you go back, you remember the time, take the time, you go, put it in, oh wait, it's in UTC, you start again, you forget what you're doing, you fall asleep, you get a coffee. It was terrible. And that didn't count for log data comes from everything. There's so many different data sources, so many different formats that brought about these really complex tools that you needed to configure and monitor. It was all just really hard. And over the last 3 years, that's exactly the problem that we've been working on. We've released hundreds of integrations. Everywhere that your data is, we're there too, collecting it, formatting it, making sure you get the value out of it. We have dozens of UI improvements targeting your use cases. So helping you solve your problems better. It's things like saved views. Troubleshoot, you find the error. Why have your coworkers reproduce? Just save it, share it, move it on. It's things like our stream processing pipeline. We process billions of events a minute. It is phenomenal. And what that does for you is it's filtering, it's parsing, it's transformation of your data. So you don't need to manage config files. You don't need to go into Logstash and configure things. It's taking that pain away. And it's things like log patterns, being able to find the anomalous log, that weird one-off, why is this happening? Or find the hyper-verbose log, trim some fat, work out what's going on. But for all of this innovation, what we kept hearing from our customers over and over again was logs was the most valuable in the context of an application. If I see an error, I see a trace, show me the logs. What are you doing? Come on. And that brings me to today. We have announced really innovative features. The Apm Agent now instruments logging frameworks, which means that your Apm Agent inside your application is able to capture logs and attach that to traces, to errors. It means that you no longer need to worry about log forwarders or sidecars. It's super accessible to developers, and it's delivering everything in context to you as you need it. No more searching. But why take my word for it? How about we do a live demo, right? Yeah. So by day, I'm a product manager. But by night, I'm a slightly obsessive cat parent of 2 cats. Everyone's had a different pandemic experience. I happen to have walked out of it with a couple thousand cat photos and some web dev skills. So today, I am delighted to present to you whataloaf.com, a tribute website to my 2 cats, Grandpa and Loaf. By the way, this is a real website. You can go and generate traffic. First thing I want to show you is, aside from my cats, obviously, is we have instrumented this with New Relic. So I get to see all of that New Relic that we know and love, the telemetry of the application. But there's no log data. As I was building this website, one of my friends reaches out to me and she's like, hey, Julian, your app's not working. I'm trying to upload a photo of my dog and it errors out. You should definitely keep your day job. And I was like, okay, rude, but fair. Let's go and see what's going on. So we go to errors inbox, which is where all of our errors are collected. And I'm able to go and see the error that was being thrown for her. It's a Rails app. There's a Rails validation error. So I see the error, but I don't have any context, right? Like, okay, the validation is failing. So what? What does this mean? What do I do with this? This is where logs comes in. It gives you that context. So, because this is a live demo, we're going to SSH into the machine. We're going to upgrade to the latest version of the Ruby agent. We're going to redeploy, because everyone likes a live deploy. And then we're going to troubleshoot. Let's make this happen. OK. We do bundle, update, New Relic, Apm. Oops, typing. Bundler does its magic. Also, Ruby, Rails, it's amazing. There we go. One fan in the crowd. Thank you. OK, so we go back to our application. I've redeployed. There should now be log data flowing too, which means we're developers. We can go and reproduce the error. I'm going to the upload page. I go and select the photo. This is my friend's dog, sitting on a plane, being kind of cute. I might not have mentioned, I may have over-engineered this app a little bit. There's a machine learning algorithm that's doing image recognition and making sure only cat or dog photos get uploaded, because, you know, why not? So let's reproduce. We upload the photo. OK. All right, we're getting the same error. Now we're cooking. Let's go back to New Relic. And we have logs. Just like that, right? Like, that's amazing. Logs scoped down to my application, and all I did was a deploy. That's so accessible. But we have a problem to solve, right? My friend complaining, there's an error. What's going on? So let's go back to errors inbox. Here's that error being thrown. And now we have log data attached as well. The benefit here is it's the full request response lifecycle from the view of the log. Now, as I said, I've got a whole bunch of machine learning going on, so all of my labels are being dumped into the logs. I'm getting so much more context. So now I'm able to look at this. I see the request coming in. It's a post request. That's my photo. It's an animal. It's wildlife, mammal, gorilla? All right. I got some problems with my machine learning algorithm. I need to go and fix that. But it's given me an action item. I now know what I need to do. I need to pick up the phone and tell my friend, take better photos. So that's my demo. What I want to say is, this is just one of the dozens of features we have released as part of this launch. We've got booths out there doing demos. I want each of you to go out there and say, I want to see logs in context running on errors, on distributed tracing, on infrastructure, on Kubernetes. We have a breakout session. I told you about our stream processing pipeline, billions of events a minute. One of our engineers from Barcelona is in town. He's got a breakout session. He's talking about how obfuscation works, getting in there, processing every event, and making sure we mask sensitive data. And lastly, my request to each of you is, if you haven't tried New Relic logs yet, try it today. If you deploy it, get that Apm Agent up and running, we'll give you 30 days free. All right, that's it for me. It's my absolute pleasure to welcome Aditi. Thank you very much, everyone.
All right, hey everyone. everyone. I am so excited to be here with you all today and share the amazing updates we've been making to our experience for web developers. Ever since launching our real user monitoring experiences, our goal here at New Relic has really been to end tool silos for web developers and deliver an experience that they truly love. And I am so thrilled to share that web developers truly do love New Relic. In fact, New Relic has been the most deployed real user monitoring solution in the world. More than 2.5 million websites use New Relic, and we are deployed a whopping 80 times more than our closest competitor across the entire internet. That's pretty insane. And across our entire user base, we see developers solving 3 key challenges with New Relic. They're reducing downtime. Now, this on average costs companies $5,600 per minute during an outage, according to Gartner. And I don't know about you, but outages typically last more than a minute, so that's a lot of money. Developers are reducing latency. 40% of users will take no more than 3 seconds to abandon your site, which only means reduced customer satisfaction, reduced customer retention, and ultimately a loss of revenue. And lastly, developers are using New Relic to improve their efficiency. Normally, web developers otherwise spend too much time debugging as opposed to shipping new features, which is why it's crucial for them to have an all-in-one platform that can really streamline the software development lifecycle. Now, New Relic is especially suited to address these challenges that developers face. 1, it's super easy to use. Developers get these industry standard metrics like Core Web Vitals straight out of the box. Next, error tracking and debugging is available in context for no additional cost with absolutely no need to switch tools. Oh, I think, perfect, thank you. And lastly, users can also implement synthetic monitors to proactively keep track of their applications and prevent future outages or latency spikes. Now, let me show you why so many use New Relic to monitor their web applications with a demo. All right, now, unfortunately, I don't have a cute cat website to show you guys like a Julian, but I'm going to take this time to speak about an initiative that's really near and dear to my heart. In my free time, I manage the digital experience for a nonprofit that raises money to build schools for girls in rural India. And they do this by selling hand-woven textiles, saris, all kinds of fabrics made by rural artisans in an online storefront. And this is a real foundation. It's a real nonprofit called the Sneha Karma Foundation. And while this is something that I'm super passionate about, like any e-commerce experience, performance needs to be fast, or our customers and our donors will go elsewhere, even if they support our cause. So let's jump into the platform and take a look. So logging into New Relic, the navigator view that we have here gives me a bird's eye of all of the entities that deliver my website. I immediately notice some degradation on my front end. Selecting this entity, I see some golden metrics here, but I want to dive deeper. Now, this brings us to the summary page, and I get a real-time view of my website performance. I see my 3 core web vitals that measure critical metrics of web page performance, and I immediately notice that my largest contentful paint, or LCP for short, is underperforming. Now, this signals to me that there is an asset, essentially, that is loading poorly on my site. Now, we know, based on general rule of thumb, that anything over 2.5 seconds is a problem. And we know that you only have about 3 seconds at most before your users start abandoning your site willy-nilly. So we need to figure out exactly which users are being impacted here and why. Now, let's go into our user traffic breakdown to check it out and filter by our largest contentful paint. Now, within the desktop users itself, I immediately noticed that Microsoft Edge and Chrome users are the most severely impacted by this. And I can also go ahead and filter by region using our lovely filterable geo. Now, according to this map, it seems as though our lag is widespread across the entire user base. So it's even more imperative for me now to understand which asset is loading slowly so that I don't lose potential checkouts on this site that is so important to me. From here, let's use distributed tracing to look at which requests are taking the longest. And I'm going to filter to the correct time window. Now, I'm also going to filter by trace duration, so I see which one is the longest. And over here, it looks like there are several spans that are causing latency, specifically related to my coupon service. That's really interesting. And there are also errors being triggered here. So now let's dive into errors inbox to troubleshoot this a bit further. OK, now immediately, I see a high occurrence error that's also related to my coupon service. Let's look at the code level details. OK, so over here, we see great metrics like when this error was first and last seen, the occurrences of the error according to this chart, and exactly where in the code the error is occurring, down to the specific line of JavaScript. And from here, and this is telling me exactly where the slow loading asset is occurring. So from here, I can go to Codestream and fix it immediately in my IDE, or tag the relevant developer that wrote the code. And to prevent this from happening in the future, I can also go into synthetics and create a monitor to proactively test and alert me of any problems with my well application well before it impacts my end users. Right. So as you can see, our front-end solution for web developers is super easy to use, allows us to track and debug errors completely in context. Again, bringing us back to our primary mission to eliminate tool silos for our developers. And even allows you to proactively monitor your web applications with synthetics to prevent future outages and latency issues. And that's why New Relic is the world's most deployed real user monitoring solution. Now, if you want to learn more, I will be hosting a breakout session tomorrow at 2:15 p.m. You can check out the schedule. And that's where I'll be diving into these core web vitals some more and talking about how to most effectively use them to improve your real user experience. Or if you think you've heard it all, please get in the platform and get started with the world's most deployed browser solution today. And with that, I'm going to invite Bill back on stage. Thank you.
Nice job.
Sorry.
Oh, incredible. Isn't that amazing? The innovation from the product team this year has just been incredible. We've now seen APM, logs, browser, and I'm so excited to share with you how we're taking developer experience to yet another level. You see, observability is essential in today's modern multi-cloud world. You all know this, likely because you're still running things in data centers. You're embracing public cloud providers. You may be running things on the edge. And you're taking advantage of observability to look across all of those systems. New Relic ourselves, and our commitment to public cloud, just announced last week that we are all in on public cloud. We will be exiting our data centers in FY23. And we are moving multi-cloud. One of the ways that we're doing that is announcing a new strategic partnership with Microsoft. I can't think of a better way to talk about this partnership than to invite my longtime mentor and friend, Scott Guthrie, to the stage. Scott.
Good to see you, Bill.
Now, I have to say, this is not our first chapter working together. Scott runs the Cloud and AI group, responsible at Microsoft for many, many things, including many of the developer tools and technologies that you all know and love, Visual Studio, .NET Framework, GitHub, of course, all of the Azure cloud services, and so much more. But our companies have been working together for 10 years or more.
About a decade.
Yeah. In fact, you were on stage for FutureStack in, was it 2012?
I think so, yeah.
10 years we've been partnering together. Scott and I also go back because in 2012, I was actually on the Azure team working for Scott, building some amazing software. So for more than a decade, we've been working together personally, professionally, and across companies to bring the power of observability to Microsoft developers. That was chapter 1. To tell us about chapter 2, let me hand it over to Scott.
Thanks, Bill. And thank you so much, everyone, for having me here. And I'm incredibly excited to be here at FutureStack. And really incredibly excited about the partnership that Bill just mentioned, where Microsoft and New Relic are really working together to deeply integrate our products and enable all of you to be able to take advantage of observability throughout your applications, throughout your development tools, and be able to drive your digital transformation even more. And Microsoft historically has been a developer tools company. We actually started the company as a developer tools company, and it's been core to kind of our DNA over the last 47 years. And whether it's with tools like GitHub, whether it's tools like Visual Studio, whether it's with .NET, we really try to focus on how do we deliver what tools and services that developers love and can really make developers successful. And this partnership that we're talking about today is really about continuing that and taking to the next level with New Relic. And part of the way we're doing that, obviously, is integrating it with our cloud. And our goal with Microsoft is going to deliver the most trusted cloud that you can depend on to drive your digital transformation, deliver and build those applications, and really reach a global audience. Part of what we try to do with Microsoft Cloud is make it a full stack cloud, meaning we provide infrastructure and data and AI services that you kind of think of as Azure, but also provide higher level SaaS capabilities with things like Office 365 and Dynamics 365 for productivity and business apps, and our Power Platform for low-code, no-code extensibility. And as Bill mentioned, observability is key to kind of building successful solutions. And what we're trying to do is deeply integrate our stack with New Relic so that you can take advantage of New Relic to build better applications, leveraging all this capability, and deliver faster time to value and better, happier customers. Now, as Bill mentioned, we've been partnering for a long time, and our partnership is very broad and covers both the developer experience with our developer tools and services, as well as our cloud. So for example, inside Visual Studio or Visual Studio Code today, you can very easily find the Codestream extension from New Relic. In a single click, you can go ahead and download and install it. And what we've done is integrated that into our developer tools so that you can get your observability data next to your code and be able to kind of see that seamless experience like you saw in some of the demos earlier, but also directly exposed inside the developer tools so you can literally, as you're debugging something, be able to take advantage of all the New Relic capabilities and data directly integrated as part of the tool. And obviously this works with any cloud, so you can take advantage of all the developer tool features and deploy anywhere you want. What we're doing today is also then extending this further to be able to integrate it with Azure in a more seamless way like this as well. So how are we doing that? Well, we're doing that on a couple different fronts. And what I thought I'd do is just sort of walk through what we're doing and then actually show you some examples of kind of what that integration looks like directly with Pixels. With our partnership with New Relic, we're really focused on 4 scenarios. The first is making it really easy to integrate and take advantage of New Relic in the Azure Management Console. And so you'll actually now be able to just create a New Relic instance directly inside standard Azure Management Portal that everyone uses. We've deeply integrated our services, so you can actually click on any service in our portal or use the command line in order to wire up New Relic directly to those services. That extends to our Kubernetes service, to our web applications, to our VMs, our database services, And you'll see a couple examples in just a moment of how easy and seamless we're really trying to make that. Part of the value of Azure is it runs all over the world. And as Bill mentioned, with New Relic running in a public cloud environment, you can now actually guarantee that the observability data for your applications stays with the rest of the data with your application and in whatever country or region of your choice. We have more than 60 regions around the world with Azure, and so you can basically now meet any compliance or security or sovereignty requirement that you have to be able to kind of reach a global audience. And then the last thing we're doing is integrating New Relic as part of the Azure Marketplace. And what that means is if you work for, say, an enterprise or a company that's already made a Microsoft Cloud commitment or an Azure commitment, you can now directly use that commitment to actually purchase New Relic for your project or your department or your entire organization. And so making it even seamless on the transaction side as well. So let's take a look at what this looks like from a product perspective. So what you see here is our Azure Management Console, and you can create lots of different Microsoft services, obviously, through it. But what we've done is also then just made it super easy, so you can just search for New Relic or pick it out when you want to create it. And we have an integrated create experience, and all you do is click the create button, and you have a New Relic service provisioned. That's it. It's all integrated directly in our Management Console. Literally 3 or 4 clicks, and you have it provisioned wherever you want around the world and ready to use as part of your solutions. Then once you have it provisioned, the other thing we've done is made it super easy to integrate any of the other Azure services with this New Relic instance. And so what you can see here is you can just go ahead and browse any of your Azure services. You can kind of click any of the services here. So I have some Kubernetes clusters, I have some web applications, I have some VMs. And then I just have to click the install extension button. And what that's going to do is automatically provision New Relic. It's going to wire that up securely into the telemetry system. And from that point on, your observability data shows up in New Relic. And then we've also integrated deep linking support so that once you want to actually see the data, you can just go ahead and directly in the Azure Management Console, just click View Dashboard. We'll single sign you in to New Relic, to that provisioned instance, and all your data and all your observability capabilities is all wired up, integrated, ready for you to use. So that kind of gives you a sense of just how simple and how easy we are working to make it for you to take advantage of it, again, for all your Azure solutions. And again, this data is now being stored in Azure. And so the beauty here is you can deploy this New Relic instance in more than 60 Azure regions around the world. The data stays in that region, in that country, and again, helps you meet any compliance or security or regulatory requirement that you might have. And then lastly, the beauty is you can also transact and buy New Relic if you don't already have it directly as part of the Azure experience as well. And again, if you work for a company that already has an Azure commitment, the bigger the Azure commitment, the bigger the discounts you get on all the services, so there's a good reason to have that. You can now spend that commitment on New Relic, and again, with a single click, go ahead and provision it, have one bill, all integrated as part of the Azure experience. So we're really excited in terms of this integration. I hope you get a sense of this is not just a strategic partnership in name, but we're really doing deep product integration across our stack with New Relic. And I think at the end of the day, it's going to really enable developers and engineers to use data in a richer way, be able to drive digital transformation in an even more powerful way. And we're really looking forward to seeing what you build with all this capability. And really excited about the partnership. And thank you so much for having me here, Bill.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you so much, Scott.
Thanks,
Love
everyone.
Microsoft. That's incredible, isn't it? I'm so looking forward to seeing how you take advantage of Azure and New Relic together. You saw Scott mentioned the Codestream experience and how New Relic is plugging directly into world-class developer tools like VS Code and Visual Studio. Would you like to see a live demo of what that is all about? All right. Well, with that, let me welcome Peter, who's SVP of Strategy and Experience and the prior CEO for Codestream. Thanks, Paul.
Hello, FutureStack. I'm here to talk about Codestream. To make observability a daily practice for every engineer, at every stage of the software lifecycle. We're meeting developers where they live in their IDE with New Relic Codestream. Codestream brings all of your existing collaboration tools into your IDE. And now, along with the power of observability to make you more effective and more productive. We have a plugin that works with today's most popular editors, such as VS Code, Visual Studio, Android Studio, IntelliJ, PHP Storm, WebStorm, and 6 others. And we're beyond delighted to be partnering with Scott and Microsoft to make your developers even more productive. I'd like to show you the 4 main use cases for Codestream to help you focus on what's most important every sprint. And that is, of course, your issues or your tickets, your PRs, your discussion about code, and finally now, observability. So let's take a look. Okay, I'm going to be demoing with VS Code, which happens to be my favorite editor, but Codestream works exactly the same in all the editors that we support. So let's first take a look at the tickets that I need to address for this sprint. You can see here that I'm looking at all the tickets that are assigned to me from Jira, but I can also use a custom filter using JQL's advanced querying capability to show me exactly those tickets that are most important this sprint. And of course, we partnered with Microsoft and have their amazing Azure Devops integrated as well. So if you can pull your tickets from Jira, Azure Devops, or any other issue tracker that you're using. Now, once I decide which ticket I want to work on, I can click on it to open it directly in Codestream. And I can see all the details. And Codestream helps me automate all the things that everybody needs to do when you get to work, right? You need to move that ticket to the next stage in the workflow. And of course, you need to create a branch to hold your work. And finally, you can even, with one click, let your teammates know via Slack or Microsoft Teams what you're working on. So that's pretty cool. But let me show you something better. We have an amazing integration with your code host to show you your PRs directly in your IDE. And this allows you to set up custom queries to show exactly those PRs that are most important. For example, ones that I'm assigned to or ones that request me as a reviewer. So you can see here, there's one that's waiting on my review. And if you looked closely, I even got a toast notification letting me know that Brian wants me to look at his PR. So I can load up this PR directly in my editor and step through the diffs, leveraging the side-by-side diff capability of my editor, which leverages code intelligence, jump to definition, and all of my activity, whether it's adding comments or marking files as reviewed, sync back to GitHub. With one click, I can check out to this branch if I need to run a build. So it's a much more powerful and easy, seamless way to interact with your PRs and keep you in your flow. So that's pretty cool. But let me show you something better. What if you're new to the team and you don't really understand how the code base works all that well yet? Well, what we used to do is we used to walk across the hall and tap somebody on the shoulder. But nowadays, we're probably messaging each other through some messaging app that's not really connected to your code base. So Codestream makes that so easy. If I have a question about code, I can just select the code and hit this button. And up pops a comment box, making it super easy for me to talk about code. You can even see here that Charlie has been tagged. That's because Codestream did the git blame for me to find out who wrote that code. And because we do integrate with your existing messaging services, such as Slack or Microsoft Teams, I can choose which channel to post this message to, and my teammates can reply from Slack or Teams, and that reply comes back through to Codestream. What's even better is that those conversations are saved as annotations on top of your code base, which help the rest of the team in case they have a similar question. So that's pretty cool. But let me show you something better. For the first time, we're bringing observability into the IDE. Now we can integrate with our very popular Errors Inbox experience. If you haven't tried this, you gotta try Errors Inbox. And now you can even bring it into your editor. And the magic of this is that in my IDE, we know what repo you've opened. And now we know what services are built from that repo. And when those services get deployed to production, if there's an error, we can bring those errors right back to the developers to whom it matters. So every developer on your team can see what's happening in the services that they've built. Here, I've got an error assigned to me, so let's open it up in my IDE, and you can see how much better it is to navigate this stack trace inside of your editor. All I have to do is click on the different frames of the stack trace to go to the different code locations, and I can more quickly debug this problem. And the best part is that if I see something that's a problem, well, you've already seen how easy it is to comment on code with Codestream. So now I can combine those two experiences, where I'm in my editor debugging a problem, and I can message about it, and those messages sync back to New Relic. So now production and non-production engineers can work together to troubleshoot problems. Now that is cool. But let me show you something better. Imagine, as an engineering manager, if you could get every developer on your team to look at how their code is performing in production every day. That would be pretty great. Well, we call it code level metrics. And code level metrics make it super easy. As you see here, I've opened up my file app.py Python, and I can see here next to the individual methods the golden signals that show me how my application is performing in production on a method by method basis. This is the first of its kind. Nobody else is doing this. Imagine if you could set thresholds, and these code lenses will show up in red if you've exceeded some threshold. And of course, you can click on this to load these data into your IDE so you can see how it's been performing historically. And you can pull data from any environment you want. You can see how here I'm pulling from production, but you can pull from a staging environment or from a load testing environment and see how this application is behaving differently. And of course, not only does this raise the visibility of how your applications are performing, because every developer on your team will see this now, you can also click right here to open up this service in New Relic so you can dive deeper and find out more. So those are the new capabilities that we're super excited about with Codestream. So bringing New Relic into the IDE lets you harness your data, cut through opinions, unlock new ideas, and turn insights into action. You are going to love the new ways you can put your data to work. Codestream is an incredible step forward in bringing observability into a daily, data-driven practice for every engineer on your team. And if you haven't tried it yet, it's super easy to get started. Just go to the marketplace of your favorite editor and do a search for Codestream. We'd love to hear how it's helping make your development team more productive. Thank you. It's my pleasure to welcome Bill back to the stage.
Wow, isn't that amazing? It's incredible, the mind-blowing innovation from New Relic. I hope you can see how we're getting rid of those data silos, getting rid of team and tool silos, bringing engineering the data they need to do work every single day. Really also excited to talk about another theme that I know is important to developers beyond developer experience, and that's choice. I've been a developer. I've been serving developers my entire career. I can tell you, having flexibility and choice is of the utmost importance as they choose the tools and the technologies that they think will best do the job. We believe at New Relic that the future of instrumentation is open. We see the future that every language and every system will, at some point in the not too distant future, have instrumentation baked into the language runtime, into the technology or system itself. And it'll be a simple act of turning it on or dialing it up and down. And so that's why we have been committed to work with the community. We've open sourced all of our agents, sharing decade-long investments that we've made to make those open and available for you all to make contributions to and also engage with. But also, we've engaged with the Open Standards Group at the CNCF on open telemetry. The result of this is pretty clear. Developer choice is driving growth in open standards data. In just the last year, we've seen 3x growth from you all embracing data sources, including open telemetry, Prometheus, Telegraph, and more. And so to talk about our investments here, I can't think of a better person than Juan from Mercado Libre, one of our leading customers who've embraced these open standards approaches, as well as Erica from New Relic. Let me bring them on stage.
Welcome, Juan.
Thank
Here
you.
we are.
Here we are, finally.
It's been a long journey. Tell us a little bit about Mercado Libre and who your customers are.
Okay, Mercado Libre provides a full ecosystem of services and products for our customers. And in order to answer who are our customers, is, for example, companies that need to sell their items, so they publish them in our marketplace, they can get advertising, and once that they sell this item, they can rely on our shipping services in order to get sure that this item arrives to the buyer home. And the buyers are other kind of customer that they can use our fintech services, for example, for pay this item. So just to bring you some context of our current scale, we are currently delivering more than 6 million of items per day.
Shipping 6 million items per day.
Yeah.
Wow. What kind of traffic does that mean you have to handle?
Well, at this moment, we have 700 million of requests per minute.
700 million requests per minute. That is
As
another
here.
level of scale. In fact, we were rehearsing backstage, and another speaker overheard us and said, "That's outrageous." So
We are not that proud about it, anyway.
what kind of system has to handle outrageous scale?
Okay, so we have a pro tech stack composed by microservices, and we have more than 20,000 of applications, all of them running our internal platform as a service, which is called Fury. Fury is not only a platform as a service or an automated CI/CD pipeline, it's an entire ecosystem of infrastructure products and components with the main idea to resolve problems that every development team might have in order to allow them to focus on resolving problems within their specific product domain. So the main idea here is Fury tries to provide out-of-the-box capabilities in order to let the development teams to build products on top of it. And the observability is a core capability for us too.
Great. On a platform that large, what are the observability challenges you find?
Well, one of the biggest challenges that we faced is that our observability was siloed. This means that not only every development team has their own way of performing observability, but also we had different tools for each signal, each of them with different data protocols, data formats, API, SDKs, agents. And this is not only an operational headache, but also it creates a tight coupling between the collector layer and the backend and the vendor solution. So this didn't allow us to achieve a unified observability approach, and what is more, we lose a lot of correlation capabilities. Just to bring an example of it, let's suppose that we want to decorate our telemetry data with some specific public cloud vendor information in order to understand better if we have a performance issue in a region, if we are having a problem in a specific Kubernetes pod or wherever it could be. This is not as simple for us at this moment. So we wanted to resolve it, not only for a signal, but for all of them.
Right, so you could be able to see the data across all of those teams being consistently decorated like that.
Right.
And so you chose OpenTelemetry. What made you excited about OpenTelemetry as a solution?
Well, OpenTelemetry has a lot of interesting things to offer. It's a vendor-agnostic observability framework that provides software and tools to generate, collect, and export telemetry data, and not only for a specific signal, but for all of them. So you can think about it as an observability framework to rule them all, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And at the same time, there is something that also is really important for us, and it's the OpenTelemetry collector architecture. The OpenTelemetry collector allows us to have a single point of control to all the telemetry data before egressing our platform. So there we can manipulate this data. We can take decisions based on the source, based on the destination target, apply sampling. And again, recapping to the previous example, we could work around this decoration issue too. So it's pretty interesting and really powerful.
Right, you would finally be able to answer those questions of what does my performance look like by provider or by region, because you've got this central point of control. So once you've decided to choose OpenTelemetry, what does the migration look like?
Okay, so adopting OpenTelemetry is not something easy, and it's something that you can do on your own. You need a lot of commitment from the development teams, and you have to be sure why you are adopting it. This is like the first thing that you should be thinking of. Then you have to think about where is the value proposition that you are offering in order to achieve this new schema that you want to be working on. And you have to simplify this process as much as possible. For example, all the preparation work in terms of what are you going to do with the new experience, all the new dashboard, the new alerts, all the new instrumentation, try to simplify this as much as possible. This is like something really important for us.
You want to make it easy for your teams to onboard.
But at the same time, we believe that it's truly worth it because you instrument once and you reuse it as many times as you want.
This will be the last migration.
Yeah.
Right. So as we can see, the OpenTelemetry collector allows you to send your telemetry data wherever you want. What makes you want to send your data to New Relic?
Well, New Relic has been a truly partner for us from the early beginning of the adoption of OpenTelemetry. Also, New Relic is really committed with the OpenTelemetry community, which is really important for us. And finally, is working really hard in trying to promote or bring a similar experience to OpenTelemetry services, which, again, makes simpler the adoption of OpenTelemetry.
Well, thank you so much for that. We've really enjoyed being your partner in this OpenTelemetry journey, and thank you for sharing your story with the audience today.
Thank you.
If you all would like to learn more about their decision to switch to OpenTelemetry and how they rolled it out, please check out their breakout session today at 1:30 to learn more. So I'm on the team working to support OpenTelemetry in New Relic. And our vision is to bring a best-in-class observability experience to the most popular open sources of data, including OpenTelemetry. Whether you're all in on OpenTelemetry already or you're using a mix of OpenTelemetry and New Relic agents and integrations, we want to provide the same troubleshooting capabilities regardless of source. So let's take a look at an example. So in this example, I have a Kubernetes cluster. It's got a bunch of microservices on it. All of them are instrumented with OpenTelemetry, the SDKs, and the collector. And I own the checkout service in this workflow. The front-end team has told me that there's a problem in the checkout workflow. They want me to take a look. And so I come to this service overview. I can see my golden signals. I can see response time, throughput, error rate. Those all look fine. But I do know that my service calls 6 other services, so the problem could be downstream. I'm going to check out our externals feature to dive in. This table is showing me those 6 services that I'm calling. And immediately in this list, the cart service jumps out because it's the only one with a traced error count. This is the one throwing errors. And if I drill into the cart service, I can see that my service, the checkout service, is calling 2 transactions in the cart service. There's get cart, there's empty cart. And again, empty cart is the one that's throwing errors. So I'm ready to look at some distributed traces. This trace view is going to show me all the traces that match my criteria. My service, the cart service, and the empty cart transaction. And so I can see there's one trace group, and about 1/3 of those traces have errors. So that tells me it's an intermittent issue. This shows me all the little dots represent traces in the last 30 minutes. Let's click on one that has the errors that we're concerned about here. And right away, I can see my checkout service in the middle. The cart service is highlighted. Both are highlighted in red. That tells me that I'm actually probably seeing an error in my client call to the cart service that I'm handling, and maybe that's why my error rate isn't showing. But I want to dig in further to what the cart service is doing. So I'm going to scroll to the span that represents that empty cart transaction that's throwing an error. I'm going to look at the error details that are highlighted right here, and bingo, this is it. Can't access cart storage. It looks like there's a little bit more information, a stack trace. Okay, cool. So this says, wasn't able to connect to Redis. And this is my smoking gun, right? This lets me take it to the cart service, the team that owns the cart service, and file an issue and tell them, hey, I think Redis is acting up. And maybe I want to revisit my errors as well. So this is a classic distributed tracing troubleshooting flow. It's the same APM that you all know and love, but powered with OpenTelemetry data. And so to build these kinds of first-class experiences that we're showing you here, we're focused on 3 areas. The first is in the community. We don't just want to accept the data. We're bringing our leadership, our reputation, our deep expertise in observability to the community to help them advance their goals. We want to invest in resources that bring awareness to the project, to help onboarding. We want to tell everyone how cool OpenTelemetry is. Because no matter, yes, thank you, yes, how cool OpenTelemetry is, yes. Because whatever instrumentation you choose to instrument in your system, New Relic or OpenTelemetry or both, you can send your telemetry to us, right? Our platform should be the obvious destination because of our features like scale, for like pricing, and compliance features as well. And so we're building our first-class experiences at the heart of our platform first, which is APM and services. Today, OpenTelemetry data lights up your services. It lights up capabilities like alert conditions, like lookout, like errors inbox. Everyone's really excited about errors inbox. And because of our close connections to the communities, because of that investment and that time, our experiences across the whole stack are going to grow alongside the project as it matures, as it stabilizes, into spaces like mobile, like browser, like infrastructure. I'm really excited about that one. And in fact, today is a huge milestone for the community. OpenTelemetry is based on 3 pillars: distributed tracing, metrics, logs. And as of today, this morning, we're announcing that OpenTelemetry is stable for metrics, joining tracing and being stable. And you know how much we love metrics here at New Relic. We're so excited to start to see OpenTelemetry metrics show up in our platform. And yes, this is a big milestone. And this milestone was reached through the dedication and the hard work of lots of folks in the OpenTelemetry community. And so we want to thank them, but we want to thank you all as well. You are all the early adopters of OpenTelemetry. Your data and your feedback make our contributions to the project and our experiences that much stronger. So thank you for trying out OpenTelemetry. And with that, we're on break. We'll see you all in a bit. Thank you.